For great Pokemon TCG product and prices, check out ccgcastle.com.
Hello, Pokemon fans! I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries, here with another Deck Tech Thursday, our very first official Sun and Moon Deck Tech Thursday. Will be featuring decks from cards from the Sun and Moon base set. Now, tomorrow is the official day that we will see Sun and Moon be legal for tournaments. So that means Anaheim Regionals that's going on this coming weekend will have Sun and Moon legal for play, and we are going to feature our very first deck profile featuring that new rotation now that we've got Sun and Moon in the format, Primal Clash to Sun and Moon. Let's see what we can do with it. So this week, we're going to be focusing on Lurantis GX. Lurantis GX is a really, really good card. A lot of the GX's cards are very, very good from the Sun and Moon base set, and I think Lurantis is one of the absolute best ones. For sure, it can contend with so much in the format. I feel like it's a very strong deck, and there's a lot of different ways you can play it. Now, this particular deck is going to be around the Eeveelutions build, which helps you hit for weakness against certain things. There's plenty of other ways you can play it. You can play it with Vileplume. You can play it with a couple other things. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I can't. I know Vileplume is one of them. Mega Beedrill, I think, is another one that I saw. So we're going to be focusing on the Eeveelutions build. As always, guys, if you're interested in building this deck and you don't want to buy packs or anything like that, you can get the singles from our sponsor at ccgcastle.com. They've got great prices and great group of people over there, so be sure to check them out. All right, let's go ahead and get things started here. We've got our first lineup here of 4 of the Fomantis. Fomantis in and of itself is not a bad card. As you can see, Synthesis for a single colorless energy. Search your deck for a grass energy card and attach it to one of your Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. So if you go second and you can't do anything else, at the very least you can help power up your Fomantis if you're not going to get donked. And you can also attach it to one on the bench as well. It doesn't have to be to the active, so that's one good thing. But we have 4 of those because it is our main startup point, and we definitely need to start with it. So we have 4 copies of Fomantis, and then we also have 3 copies of Lurantis GX. This is your main attacker. Lurantis GX has a big, bulky 210 HP. It's got some amazing attacks. Flower Supply, attach 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. And it does 40 damage. It's almost like Virizion EX from Plasma Blast. For a single grass energy, that is really, really good. Now, we have ways to kind of boost this damage, but like I said, that's Eeveelutions. We're going to get to that here in a minute. And Solar Blade does 120 damage, and it heals 30 from this Pokemon. So not only are you dealing with 210 HP, but you have a built-in heal 30. And you can Flower Supply, attach the 2 to itself, and then Solar Blade in the next turn for 120. So you can do 160 in a matter of 2 turns and heal 30 damage. The GX attack is also nothing to scoff at. Chloroscythe GX does 50 damage times the number of grass energy attached to this Pokemon. Now that is absolutely crazy. If you have 4 energy attached to it, you're hitting for 200 damage. And that is knocking out a lot of things that are big in the format right now. So Lurantis GX is definitely a very, very good card. And we're going to be building this based upon ways of healing and also preventing certain amounts of damage so that we're able to take advantage of Lurantis' bulky 210 HP and make it last even longer. So the way we're going to start off here with help from its outside components, we're going to be having 2 copies of Eevee. Now, this is the Eevee from Ancient Origins. I actually doesn't matter which Eevee that you use because we're not running any of the other types of energy. So the Energy Evolution Eevee doesn't even matter at this point because we're not going to be evolving into Leafeon. And all we run is grass energy, so it doesn't even matter. Of course, you know, you could run the other Eevee, which I have right over here. As I said, Energy Evolution Eevee has 60 HP. It does have a better attack. Quick draw, flip a coin if heads, draw a card. Or you can deal 10 damage with Tackle. I mean, either way, I guess drawing a card is probably better. So I would suggest probably running 2 of this Eevee. It just so happens that this is all I grabbed at the time when I first built the deck a few weeks ago. So there is our Energy Evolution Eevee. You can run this one. This one is, of course, from Sun and Moon base. And you're not going to be taking advantage of its ability, but Quick Draw is probably a better attack overall. So I would say run 2 copies of this Eevee, just so there's no confusion. I'm going to leave that one on top. There you go. All right, now there's also some different options that you have to help. Now, we're going to be going back to Ancient Origins here, and we're going to be running 1 copy each of Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon. Now, the reason for this is that all 3 of these have a special ability. It's got Aqua Effect for Vaporeon, Electric Effect for Jolteon, and Flare Effect for Flareon. Now, each of these are going to make your Stage 1 Pokemon get the typing that which one of these are. I mean, you got Flareon, it's going to turn your Stage 1s into Fire type as well as whatever they are. This is going to turn it into Electric type plus whatever it is, and this is going to be Water type plus whatever it is. So this is going to help you in your Volcanion matchup. This is going to help you hit for weakness. And then Jolteon is going to help knock out anything that's weak to Electric, whether that be Yveltal, whether that be Shaymins, Pidgeots. That's going to help you there. And then Flareon is going to help you against other Lurantis decks. It's going to help you knock out your other opponent's Lurantis GX. It's going to help them knock out, if they run Mega Beedrill, they can knock out Mega Beedrill. There's a few things out there that Grass is going to be getting buffs from Decidueye and things like that. So that is your added bonus because your Lurantis GX is a Stage 1. You're going to be able to take advantage of these 3 effects depending on your matchup. So you're probably only going to use one of these at a time. You may not even use it at all. You may face a Dark deck and not be able to use any of these. Well, that's fine. You got some cards that you can use for scrap. It's not that big of a deal. It's still a very good deck. Lurantis took on Umbreon heads-on and beat it 4 out of 5 times in my testing. So honestly, I don't see it being too much of a concern, but this will help you really deal out the damage in your matchups where you can hit for weakness. Also, since Lurantis does have that Flower Supply attack, you can move 2 energy cards out of the discard to a Pokemon. It only makes sense in the Permaclash on format to run a copy of Trevenant EX. Trevenant EX has 2 attacks. Dark Force for a single grass does 20 damage and the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Also, it's got Wood Blast, which is 50 damage and does 20 more for each grass energy attached. So if you have 3 grass energy attached, you're dealing 110 damage, which is pretty solid in and of itself. So this is just a good secondary attacker if you're having some issues setting up multiple Lurantis, or if you just need another attacker because you've run out of Lurantis, whatever the case may be. It's a good secondary attacker. Also, we've got 2 copies of Shaymin EX for the setup ability. Of course, unfortunately, Shaymin is just the way to go. It's too good. It helps you really get the deck going, and it's just too good right now. So next up here, that is it for Pokemon. We're going to be going on to our supporter lineup, which is a little bit on the thick side, but we're going to work with it. We've got, of course, 4 copies of Professor Sycamore. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. Standard, best draw supporter in the game. I don't know how much longer we'll have it, unless Samson Oak is this card. I see this actually falling by the wayside once not this rotation, but the next rotation, like in 2018. Something's going to have to come along to replace this, or it's just going to go away. Also, we've got 3 copies of N. N is going to hang around for quite a bit, at least another year. So this will probably stick around until 2018 as well. Or the middle of 2017. Let's see here, 18. Yeah, I think 2018 is when this will finally go by the wayside. 3 copies of N. Each player shuffles his or her hand in his or her deck. Each player draws a card for the remaining prize cards. Pretty much standard in any deck now. Most of them play 2, but I like to play 3 because there's a chance that you might fall behind, and this is a good way to catch back up. Also, 2 copies of Lysander. Switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with his or her active Pokemon. Obviously, you're going to want to hit something for weakness if you can, so Lysander is going to be your best bet around that. That will also stick around at least until 2018 as well. We've got 1 copy of Olympia because Trevenant EX is a big deal if it gets stuck in the active with nothing on it. So switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. You do heal 30 damage from the Pokemon you move into your bench. You can also get a Hurt Lurantis out of play, put it on the bench, heal 30, and move something else up that's got some health to it. Speaking of healing, we've got 1 copy of Pokemon Center Lady. Heal 60 damage and remove all special conditions from one of your Pokemon. This works to help get rid of paralysis, poison, which is going to be a big deal in Sun and Moon, burn, which might be a big deal eventually in this particular format. And it's also helping with your Lurantis' healing abilities. Healing 30, you can switch and heal 30. You can heal 60 via Seeker, heal 60. It's just a big, bulky, tanky, powerful deck. Speaking of power, let's add a little bit more here with Professor Kukui. Draw 2 cards. During this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. So now you turn Flower Supply from 40 to 60. You turn Solar Blade from 120 to 140. You can turn Chloroscythe. 4 energy is 200. You can do 220 with a Kukui. You can also do it before weakness on Flareon, so you're dealing 60, 120 with Flower Supply against weakness. You're dealing 280 with Solar Blade if you're hitting for weakness, and who knows how much you can hit for with Chlorocythe. 4 energy, that's, 440 damage, my goodness. The numbers can really add up quickly, so Kukui helps in that respect. So, next up, we're going to look at our items. Very straightforward item lineup. I only had 3 of these reverses, so the last one's going to throw me off. But we have 4 copies of VS Seeker. Search your discard pile for a supporter card and show it to your opponent, put it into your hand. This is a standard in pretty much every deck. And I only had 3 of them for some reason from Supreme Victors, and 1 of them from Fates Collide, or not Fates Collide, Phantom Forces. So just deal with that looking at that last one. It's going to bug you like it bugs me. All right, next up, 4 copies of Trainer's Mail. Search, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a trainer card you find there, except for Trainer's Mail, put it in your hand, shuffle the other cards back into your deck. You're going to be searching out supporters this way. You're going to be searching out items this way, your stadiums this way. Stadium is kind of the most important one of all. Being able to evolve, especially if you're going second, it's going to keep you in the game. We have 4 copies of Ultra Ball. Discard 2 cards from your hand. If you can't discard 2 cards, you can't play the card. Search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterward. You're going to get rid of your energy with your Ultra Ball because Lurantis' Flower Supply works out of the discard pile. So you're going to discard 2 energy, and then you're going to get yourself a Pokemon. Usually it's going to be a Shaman EX, unless there's no more Shaman EX, and you're going to get whatever you need, whatever the case may be. So there's that. 1 copy of Professor's Letter. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand. Search your deck afterward. This and this are a combination that is going to be very, very tough to beat. Searching for 2 energy, then Ultra Balling them away. It's pretty darn fantastic. I mean, that's your ultimate setup right there. Also, we've got 1 copy of Super Rod. Shuffle 3 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile back into your deck. This is going to be a recovery if you can't get any more flower supplies, or if you have to throw something away that you don't want to and get it back again. That is also helpful. We also have 2 copies of Assault Vest. And now Assault Vest is really cool. Any damage done to the Pokemon this card is attached to by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have any special energy attached to them is reduced by 40. So you're turning this tanky 210 HP Pokemon that has a healing attack, and you have ways of healing with Olympia and Pokemon Center Lady, and you're saying, while you're at it, why don't you deal 40 less if you have a special energy attached? Everything uses special energy these days. I mean, obviously there's a few exceptions, like Greninja uses splash energy. Gardevoir doesn't use special energy. Mostly everything else does, though. So that minus 40 turns you from 210 to 250. And you're able to heal as well. It turns it into an extremely tanky deck. This has saved me a lot of times. And also, Umbreon's Night Spear, or not Night Spear, the Night Spear-like attack, I should say, that it has. When it hits a benched Lurantis that has this attached, it negates it because you're hitting for 30. And if they're attaching with a double colorless energy attached, well, Lurantis says, hey, I got this attached to you. It's doing 40 less. Even though I'm on the bench, you're not going to be damaging me. So this helps in that respect as well. You can also save your other Pokemon that same exact way in that area, so that's pretty cool. We have 2 copies of Level Ball because, well, let's face it, most of our deck is searchable by Level Ball. We've got 4 Fomantis, 2 Eevee, a Vaporeon, a Jolteon, and a Flareon that's searchable by Level Ball. So search your deck for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less and put it into your hand. That is pretty darn good, and you do it for free as well. So this helps for that. And we also have 1 copy of Revitalizer. Put 2 grass Pokemon from your discard pile into your hand. If you have to get rid of one of these 3 different Pokemon really early, you can get them right back without any problem. That is a pretty cool thing. You can get them right back, put them back into your hand, and do whatever you need to do. And there's really no penalty for doing so because you can get them back with Revitalizer. So it's a pretty cool card, and it works really well in this deck. I recommend running at least 1 of them. We also have Escape Rope to get ourselves out of trouble again. Trevenant is a big bulky Pokemon. It can get in the way sometimes. Each player switches his or her active Pokemon with one of his or her benched Pokemon. Your opponent switches first. If that player doesn't have a benched Pokemon, they don't have to switch because they can't, obviously. So Escape Rope gets you out of trouble. Also, we have 3 copies of Forest of Giant Plants. Each player's grass Pokemon can evolve during his or her first turn, or the turn he or she puts those Pokemon into play. So if you're going second, you got a Fomantis, you can go right into Lurantis and Flower Supply on your very first turn. That is definitely good. So 3 copies of Force Giant Plants. I wanted the 4th copy, but I really didn't see where I could cut for it. Maybe an N, but I'd rather have the consistency of N. My Trainer's Mails can get my Force Giant Plants if need be as well. So now it's time for energy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 grass energy. I opted to go with a little bit higher energy count because I'd rather not have any issues getting that energy in play, especially if some of it gets prized or if I have to toss a lot of it early game. So if I toss it out and I can't flower supply it back, well, at least I've got a lot of it to work with. So 10 grass energies. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Now we can lay it all out without any issues. We got some glare here, but that's okay. We'll work around that. But anyways, guys, that's the deck. Do with it what you will. I personally like it the way it is. At least, excuse me, for an Eeveelutions build, I feel like it's a pretty solid play. Obviously, you can play this other ways. You can play it with Vileplume. You can play it with Mega Beedrill. It's a really good deck. Lurantis is a great card. But this is the deck that I chose to put together for this week's Deck Tech Thursday, and next week, Battle Frontier Friday, we're going to face this off against whatever N decides to build. So that should be fun to see, and I definitely hope you guys stay tuned for that next Friday, not tomorrow, but next Friday when we face off for Battle Frontier Friday in a best of 3 series, because that's how we're doing Battle Frontier Fridays from now on. So we hope to see you guys there, and we hope you guys enjoyed this video as well. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you did. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for all of your support. All of your donations, your views, your comments, everything you guys do, and also to our sponsors over at CCG Castle for everything they do as well. You guys are great. We love you and appreciate you, and we thank you all for everything. So, until next time, guys, I'm Professor K for the Pokemon Evolutionaries. You all take care and have a great day.